You ever pop the hood on a Saturday morning, coffee in hand, and just stare at your engine? Maybe it's got a light sheen of oil, a dusting of road grime, maybe even a little crust around the valve cover. And that little voice in your head says, man, if I just clean this up, it'll run smoother, breathe better, last longer. I get it. I really do. Back in '92, I did the exact same thing to my old '78 C10. Hosed it down with purple degreaser, scrubbed every bolt like I was prepping it for a car show. Felt good, looked sharp. Then it wouldn't start. Turns out I drowned the distributor, soaked the alternator, and blasted water right into the ignition coil. Took me 2 days and a lot of humble pie to get it running again. That's when I learned a hard truth most DIYers never hear. Just because something looks dirty doesn't mean it needs cleaning. And in some cases, cleaning it is the fastest way to turn a $20 rag into a $2,000 repair bill. So today I'm pulling back the curtain on 6 engine parts you should never ever clean, no matter how tempting it looks. These aren't guesses or internet myths. These are the exact things I see week after week in my bay, brought in by good folks who thought they were doing the right thing and ended up breaking something expensive, delicate, or downright dangerous. Let's start with the one that breaks my heart the most, the mass airflow sensor. You've probably seen it. A small plastic housing between your air filter and throttle body with a couple of tiny wires inside that look like they're coated in dust or oil. It screams, "Clean me," right? Wrong. That's your MAF sensor. And those little wires, they're not just wires. They're precision-calibrated hot film elements, heated to around 300 degrees. Their job? Measure exactly how much air is flowing into your engine so your computer can mix the perfect amount of fuel. It's one of the most sensitive sensors on your car. Now here's where folks go sideways. They see that film of road dust or oil mist and think, I'll just give it a quick spray with brake cleaner. Or worse, they wipe it with a shop rag. Big mistake. Brake cleaner, carb cleaner, even some products labeled math cleaner can leave behind microscopic residues that throw off the sensor's calibration. And wiping it, you can literally snap those filaments with static electricity from your glove. I've seen it happen. Last winter, a guy rolled in with a 2016 Silverado that kept stalling at idle. No codes, no warning lights, just a rough surging idle that got worse every day. We pulled the math, and sure enough, it was spotless. Too spotless. He'd cleaned it with electronics cleaner from the auto parts store. Thought he was being proactive. Turns out, he'd stripped the factory calibration coating right off. New sensor? $380. Labor? Another $120. All because he couldn't stand a little dust. My advice? Never clean your math unless it's visibly contaminated with oil, like from a bad oiled air filter. And even then, use only a true math-specific cleaner. Hold the can upright, spray from 6 inches away, and let it air dry. No wiping, no shaking, no shortcuts. Better yet, leave it alone. Dust doesn't hurt it. Over-cleaning does. Now, if you learned to work on cars in the 80s or 90s, you know the ritual. Pull the throttle body, soak it in carb cleaner, scrub the bore with a toothbrush, reinstall, and boom, smooth idle. That world is gone. Today's throttle bodies are drive-by-wire. No cable, no mechanical linkage. Just a motor, position sensors, and a tiny idle air control passage, all talking directly to your ECU. And they're calibrated at the factory, precisely. When you start scrubbing that bore with a wire brush or spraying aggressive cleaners into the idle air port, you're not just removing carbon, you're messing with tolerances measured in microns. You can leave lint behind, warp the butterfly valve, or, worst of all, disrupt the sensor's reference point. I had a customer bring in a 2018 Honda CR-V last spring. Car would idle at 1,500 RPM for 30 seconds after startup, then drop to 500 and shake like it was about to quit. He'd clean the throttle body because YouTube told him it would reset the idle. What he didn't know, modern ECUs learn throttle position over time. Aggressive cleaning forces the ECU to relearn, but if the bore is scratched or residue remains, it never settles. His fix? A $420 throttle body replacement and a full ECU readaptation. Here's my rule of thumb. If your throttle body isn't causing drivability issues, rough idle, hesitation, check engine light, leave it alone. And if you must clean it, use a soft microfiber cloth, a tiny bit of throttle body cleaner, and never force anything into the idle air passage. Better yet, let a pro handle it. This one shocks people, your oxygen sensors. But Tony, my oxygen sensor is black and crusty. Shouldn't I clean it? Nope. In fact, that crust, it's part of how it works. Oxygen sensors measure the amount of unburned oxygen in your exhaust to help your computer fine-tune the air-fuel mixture. Over time, they naturally accumulate a thin layer of combustion byproducts. That's normal, expected, even necessary for accurate readings. When you try to clean them, soaking in solvent, wire brushing, or using ultrasonic cleaners, you risk cracking the fragile ceramic element inside or stripping the zirconia coating that makes the sensor function. Once that's gone, it's dead. No amount of cleaning brings it back. And here's the kicker. Oxygen sensors are wear items. They last 60,000 to 100,000 miles, then they fade. Trying to extend their life with cleaning is like trying to sharpen a disposable razor. It just doesn't work. I've had customers spend hours reconditioning old oxygen sensors, only to install them and throw a P0171 or a P0135 code within a week. Replacement cost? $200 to $400 per sensor, depending on the car. On a V6 or V8 with 4 sensors, that's a $1,200 lesson in futility. So save your time and your wallet. When an oxygen sensor fails, replace it. Don't clean it. You ever see those engine detailing videos where they steam clean an entire bay until it gleams like a showroom? Looks cool, right? Looks like a $600 alternator failure waiting to happen. Alternators are sealed, but not waterproof. They've got vents to let heat escape, and those vents lead straight to the diode trio, voltage regulator, and rotor windings. Spray high-pressure water or degreaser near the alternator, and you're forcing moisture past those seals. Once water gets inside, diodes short out, bearings rust, brushes corrode, and suddenly your charging system drops from 14 volts to 9, and your battery dies on the highway. I had a classic case last summer. A 2015 F-150 came in dead. Battery tested fine, but the alternator wasn't charging. We pulled it apart, found green corrosion on the diode plate and sludge in the bearings. The owner admitted he'd deep cleaned the engine after an oil leak, used a pressure washer, thought he was being thorough. Moral of the story is, never spray water or degreaser directly on your alternator. If it's oily, wipe the casing with a damp microfiber cloth. That's it. No soaking, no blasting, no detailing. If you're wrenching on a pre-2000s car, Chevy small block, Ford inline 6, old Toyota, you've seen it. Black streaks inside the distributor cap, running from the center terminal to each plug tower. Looks like carbon buildup, right? Like it needs a good scrub. Wrong again. That's called carbon tracking, and it's actually conductive. It forms a low-resistance path for the spark to follow from the rotor to the correct plug wire. Clean it out with alcohol or a brush, and you remove that path. Now the spark has to jump through air, which it might not do reliably, especially in humid conditions. Result? Misfires, hard starts, or a no start that'll have you chasing ghosts for days. I keep an old 87 Monte Carlo in the shop as a parts runner. Its distributor cap is black as night inside. I've never cleaned it. Why? Because it starts every time, runs smooth, and passes emissions. The dirt is doing its job. So if you've got an older ride, don't clean the inside of the distributor cap. If it's cracked, melted, or full of moisture, replace it. But if it's just got those black lines, that's not grime. That's your ignition system working as designed. And tucked down near the bottom of your engine, often behind the harmonic balancer or near the oil pan, is a small sensor with a 2-wire connector. That's your crankshaft position sensor. It tells your ECU exactly where the crank is so it can time ignition and fuel injection perfectly. Now, this area gets filthy. Oil sludge, road salt, coolant residue, it builds up for years. So when folks do an engine clean, this is prime real estate for a pressure washer blast. Bad idea. That connector's not waterproof. High-pressure water forces moisture into the pins, causing corrosion or short circuits. And because the crank sensor signal is so critical, even a tiny glitch can make your ECU think the engine stops spinning, so it cuts fuel and spark instantly. I had a customer last fall whose 2014 Ram 1500 died at 70 miles per hour on I-95. No warning, just off. Towed in, no spark, no fuel pulse. We scoped the crank sensor signal, flatline. Traced it back to the connector, full of green corrosion. He detail cleaned the engine 2 days prior. It took 14 hours of diagnostics, a new sensor, a new pigtail harness, and a full ECU reset to get him back on the road. All because he thought a clean engine bay was worth the risk. Never pressure wash near sensors or connectors. If you must clean that area, use a dry brush or a barely damp cloth, and cover connectors with plastic bags taped shut. And here's the bigger picture most folks miss. A clean engine bay doesn't make your car run better. It might help you spot a leak sooner, sure, but function always trumps appearance under the hood. Dealers and detailing shops push engine shampoo services because they're profitable, not because they're necessary. And YouTube tutorials? Half of them are made by folks who've never rebuilt a transmission or diagnosed the no-start. You've got real-world experience in your back pocket, and your viewers trust you because you tell it straight. No fluff, no fear-mongering, just facts from the bay. So spread the word. If it ain't broke, don't clean it. And if it looks dirty but works fine, that's not a problem. That's a car that's been lived in and loved. Next time you're holding that spray bottle, ask yourself, am I cleaning this to fix a problem or just because it looks messy? If it's the latter, put the bottle down. Walk away. Go drink that coffee. Your engine will thank you, your wallet will thank you, and I won't have to see another good car sidelined by a well-intentioned mistake. Hit that like button if you've ever cleaned something you shouldn't have. I've been there too. Comment below, what's the weirdest thing you've tried to clean on your car? And subscribe